What's up, you guys? Good morning. Welcome to episode 49 of the First and 10 NFL New York Jets podcast. We have a very special guest this morning, Mr. Chris.
Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing?
How
Good.
are you, brother?
Chris?
Oh, good.
Thank you
Tell
for
us-
hopping on.
Yeah,
Thank
tell
you,
us
Bob.
about your team. Tell us about your team. Who's your team? We
Yes,
can see it in the
I
background,
am.
but
Yes, indeed. I'm like you guys. Hey, I bleed it. I am a Washington Commanders fan. The artist formerly known as the Washington football team. So I am a Washington Commanders guy.
there you go. There you go.
Are you happy with the name? Do you like the name?
It's gonna initially I was like, I'm gonna grow to love it. I'm gonna put it that way. I think it's gonna be something once we start developing memories as the team, as the season progressed and certain things happen. Because at first, initially, to watch the football team, I was like, that's generic. That just it doesn't.
It's
make
like,
any sense.
listen, you got to come up with something better than that, right?
Yeah.
It didn't feel original.
Yeah.
So, but once the 2020 season happened, obviously with us, even though we won the NFC East at that time, we developed memories. Hey, I actually started loving the name, and then I think the same thing will happen with the Commanders. It'll grow on me.
Would you have liked them to went back to their original name and let's say became the Washington Braves, like when they first got into the league 90 years ago and they were the Boston Braves? Would you have liked to see it come around full circle like that? Or
I would, but then I kind of understand the rationale behind that name, because you think about it, who's to say if Braves potentially might be a name down the line that might be offensive too. So
true.
It's one of the things, even though, we're almost hitting that 90-year mark as far as the organization.
Yeah.
So you still want to kind of have that continuity 90 years from now that this name can still stand as far as the Commanders. So I understand it's like kind of one of the things. It's just one of the things where, hey, it's just a part of the world that we live in now.
Yeah.
It's
True.
fairly or not, but hey, you have to roll with those. And, that could be a situation in maybe 10, 15 years where that name might be something that, I looked upon. I don't necessarily think anything, if we have a commander that does something bad, then I think that's when, that's highly unlikely. But I think that name will stand for this organization going forward.
Okay. So now talking about your organization, Chris, what were your expectations as a fan going into last season? Like Kevin and I will share what we thought the Jets should have been or done or could have been. What was your expectations going into this past season?
The expectation was actually building upon the 2020 season, the NFC Championship team. You figured the fact that, hey, not necessarily saying we were going to be Super Bowl contenders, but I figured, hey, we'll be a playoff team, a team that could potentially win back-to-back championships. The acquisitions that they had in the offseason, obviously, first off, the quarterback and Ryan Fitzpatrick. I figured he was going to, give us some stability at the quarterback position. Like if it was and then we had a guy like a Taylor Heineke, who I thought was a pinch hitter type of quarterback, where I think if he would have only been there, maybe if he would have started for maybe 4 to 6 weeks, he can get the job done versus what happened in that situation when he played the whole entire year. I mean, he, except for that, the first game he came in the second quarter. I figured that was going to be the quarterback situation. Obviously, I looked at wide receiver core is going to be a little bit better. I definitely thought we were going to have a lot more production from Curtis Samuel, and then also we drafted Yami Brown. So I figured we were going to. I know in 2020 we had some, as far as wide receiver depth wasn't really the best. So I figured bringing in those two was going to definitely help. And then defensive, I thought we were going to really improve on that 2020 defense.
Mm-hmm.
Especially I thought a guy like a William Jackson, who I thought he was kind of one of those guys. I figured he was going to be a solid, because he was solid
Next
with
level.
Cincinnati. Like, he was. I thought him coming here was going to pretty much solidify himself, and even bringing in Kendall Fuller back, I thought he was going to be a little bit better, like as far as the production. But you see, like initially that first couple of games, prior to our bye week, I mean, our pass defense was arguably one of the worst in the league. Where it's almost like we knew. I'm not a fantasy guy, but I always say, hey, if you got a wide receiver 1 or 2 on your roster and you playing against us, you can have a field day. Because I remember I was talking about
Mm.
Emmanuel Sanders, and he ended up doing this thing. So I mean, we were getting torched early. So
Damn.
yeah, it was a lot of stuff that I definitely thought that this team was going to do in 2021, but
Okay.
it really was almost the same in 2020. Really,
You happy with your QB situation, or would you like to see them go after somebody?
they got to go after another quarterback. And Taylor is a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. Like to me, he's a second. I mean, he's a backup quarterback at best, and there's nothing wrong with being a
He's
backup
like our
quarterback.
Mike White. Would you say he's like the Jets'
Right,
Mike White?
right,
Could get the job
exactly.
done, but you don't want to see him for a whole season. No,
Right,
3-4 week
even-
stretch.
Would you
Right,
like to
because
see
you
your
can
team? Would you like to see your team make a play for Rodgers?
The thing is this: I do and I don't, because
Mhm.
a part of me is like the price tag. What is it really going to take to get him? And we've
Right.
been down this road almost 10 years to the date when it came to pretty much giving up the farm for a quarterback.
Right.
We've been there, we've done that. Almost
I
to
mean,
the same
there's
date.
a couple that's good. And Russell Wilson too is a possibility.
Yes, and a lot of it too, where it really comes down to compensation. Now, I would be willing to give that 11th pick this year and certain players on this team. I know a lot of people have been saying Chase Young. No, I think to me Chase Young is untouchable.
Mm.
But a guy like a Cameron, a guy like a Cameron Payne could, I mean Deron Payne, thinking NBA. Deron Payne could be someone that could be on the table potentially in a deal. I think maybe like Ioannidis potentially, those type of players. But I'm not in the business of trade 2 multiple first round picks because you don't know what this team's going to be next year. And then
Right, for a quick fix.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
For a quick fix, right?
Exactly. So Chris, I just want to take it a step back. When you got Fitzmagic and free agent, what was the fan base's take on him? Was he realistically going to be your savior? Was he the man that was going to get you deep into the playoffs in your head and in your fan base's thoughts? Like, was he going to be that man to get you deep into the playoffs?
Yeah, because you think about it, when you think about it in 2020, this team had, I think, 4 quarterbacks. You had, obviously, initially you started off, you had Alex Smith. No, really, you started off with Kyle Allen.
Mhm.
Kyle Allen was there. Dwayne was there.
Mhm.
Alex Smith was there, and then also Taylor Heineke towards the latter of the season. So you think this up, okay, well, we're looking at Fitzpatrick. Okay, even if because we know Fitzpatrick has a good and bad. There's a good.
Sure,
but
yeah.
at least we would have had stability at the quarterback. You think about all those quarterbacks that we had, especially a guy like Alex Smith, who on one leg, pretty much, I mean, he was like 5-2 as a starter. So he's pretty much the reason why we essentially won in 2020 as far as the division. So you had to think yourself, if we can get that type of production, and those guys, they didn't have the best numbers, but if you got a Fitzpatrick who, if we can hit, because my biggest thing was we was going to have him more control. Like, I don't think, I said his mark was always going to be like, hey, if he gets like 200 to 275, 280 passing yards, he's good. But if he goes like 400, 500, it's like, okay, we're in a shootout. Let's run. It's going to be ugly. 5 interceptions. If he does that type of
the Amish rifle, that's what I call him.
And
right.
as a fan base, your fan base was probably hoping that the defense would take another step and be even better, where the game didn't always have to fall to Fitzmagic. And the reason why I'm bringing it up, Chris, because back in 2015, the Jets needed to beat Buffalo on the last day to get into the playoffs under Todd Bowles' first year. And as we say here, he shit the bed.
Shit the bed.
And he's known for, excuse me again for saying, shitting the bed when there's money on the line.
I still see Decker on that slant in the end zone, and the guy stepping in front of him and intercepting the ball.
So that's why we were wondering if the Redskin fan base had those thoughts in mind, thinking, really, guys, this is the guy we're putting our money on to take us to that next step, to the promised land. So that's why I just asked that question. And that's all. So another question I have, because you brought it up, what is your expectations, and you know your franchise. And before I go on, Chris Watch, I should have done the beginning. Tell everybody where they could see your show. Tell everybody where they could catch you
Absolutely.
and hear you.
Yeah. So before that, definitely huge shout out to Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles, former safety championship Washington football team as well, and also proud of Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Yep.
You can find me anywhere you get your podcast: Apple, Spotify, under Couch Coach Live. You can check out the live shows. We have it broadcast on Twitter, also YouTube, and that's also our Facebook page on the Couch Coach Live.
Okay.
Very cool.
So
Very cool.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome. So let's get back to what are some of this? What are the what are you hoping now for free agent? We'll take it in steps. So free agency's up first. What are you hoping this team does? How much money does this team have to spend? And we'll take it from there. Let's hear your thoughts.
Yeah, so Washington has a considerable amount of money. I want to say they're in the $50 to $60 million range. So I think they've been solid. And it's weird because last year I praised them because they were very smart when it comes to the free agent market. They got bargain deals, but the bargains really didn't pay out. We talked about William Jackson earlier. We talked about Ryan Fitzpatrick earlier. Curtis Samuel, guys who we thought were I call them bargain buys last year, but really didn't have a real return on investment. This year is pretty solid. I think you get some solid pieces. There's some guys that's floating around that you could potentially get. I know we definitely need some depth at the cornerback position, also at the linebacker position potentially. But some of those holes could potentially be in the that you can get in the draft as well. I definitely think solidly, and then also the quarterback as well. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. But as far as the expectations got to be. I mean, you got to think to yourself, you got to really improve. Like everybody in this division has improved, so you have to. Obviously Dallas is there and what they're doing. Obviously the Eagles, and I think they're going to be another formidable team, obviously with their draft pick this year. And then even the sneaky one is the Giants, where you have Brian Daboll, and who knows if he can save Josh Allen, who knows what he can do to a Daniel Jones potentially. And people looked at Josh Allen as a game manager. Now he's an MVP caliber quarterback in the league. So who knows what Daniel Jones can do with Brian Daboll as his coach. So
100%.
we really gotta. This is the year where you gotta improve. You gotta improve on multiple facts. That 7 and 10s that can get you nowhere. That being under 500 that can get you nowhere. You have to. This team has to improve.
Yeah.
I mean, hey man, when you see teams like the Bengals and stuff like that,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's time. It's time for our teams to put up or shut up.
And Chris, was. We'll come back to the rest. So bringing it to the Jets for a second. This was one of the things I brought up a couple of weeks ago. And again, we're just on YouTube, so there's not a lot of people listening or other networks, whatever. And I brought up something that no one picked up on, and then I heard Bart Scott say it a couple of days after I say it. Maybe he's listening. Who knows? I was saying that.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I was saying that my take was that what Burrows did under his first full year, because technically that's what it was. This 5-year game plan for rookie quarterbacks now, in my opinion, has to go out the window. Guys like Zach Wilson, the kid on the Chargers, Trey Lance, they have to get this done now within 2 or 3 years because Burrow set the ladder now. Do you agree, or do you totally feel like, no, there's still this 5-year game plan? Jet fans, relax, it could get done, or...
Those days are over with, because now you think about it, because the key to the success and what you've seen as of late is most of these guys, most of these teams who win Super Bowls are on quarterbacks with rookie deals. You look at like Seattle, a la Russell Wilson. You look at those days, even just not even just the success, but more so of just making it to the playoffs and making runs. I mean, so those days are over with. The guys sitting on the bench and kind of waiting.
Yeah, watching and learning, sure.
Right. Like Washington could be a perfect example. Hey, if you get the right quarterback and then you line him around, and the same thing goes with the Jets as well. If you can get, stuff around, Zach Wilson, then guess what? hey, let's just, we got him on the cheap. Let's, we give ourselves 3-4 years as far as till his deal goes up. And then from there, we can just load it up. And then from there, we'll just make the decision as far as what we're going to do from the quarterback.
Yeah.
And, so, even like I even looked at a team like a Cleveland, even though last year, not this year, but, obviously in 2020, they had Baker Mayfield on a rookie deal as well, too. So a lot of these teams now that are like playoff teams and also, contenders, they got guys on rookie deals. You look at, even though the Chargers didn't make it, but they were a timeout.
Yeah.
Not calling timeout.
That's right. That's right,
Oh,
man. That's right.
They did that to themselves.
So that's another
Sure did.
So that's another one where, and they'll be successful too. And you'll ride that wave of Justin Herbert for a few years before you have to sign him to a long-term deal. But yeah, those days, like you said, this is not the Aaron Rodgers, wait 3 years on the Brett Favre generation anymore.
But not even so much the waiting, because we know those days are done. Like, before Burrow went on this magical run, I would say it was week 8, week 9. I said, as a Jet fan, I came into the season last season thinking 4 wins, 5 wins. Then for me, the next step would have been 8 or 9 wins for this year, upcoming season. But now watching Burrow, what he did, and let me tell you something, his offensive line was just as poor as the Jets' offensive line. So Jet fans can't say, well, our offensive line was weak, we lost Becton, blah, blah, blah. I get all that. But there's no more 4 wins, 8 wins, 12 wins. For us now, at least for me, it's got to be 10 wins and nail biting in week 1 to see if last week of the season to see if we're in the playoffs or need a game to get in. There's no longer these little baby steps.
It's about making it to the dance.
Yeah,
that's all it's about.
No, agree, Kevin. What I'm trying to say is now, I think, and this is just my take, with Joe doing so well and see his full season, there's no longer bringing you along slowly. At least that's how I feel. Like, as a Jet fan, I want 10 wins next year. Anything less to me is probably going to be a failure. But I know other Jet fans don't feel the way I feel. But we all have
I'm right there. I'm right there with you, brother.
Oh yeah, and especially when if there was a situation where you draft Zach Wilson in the second round, you get all second or third round, but he's your second overall pick. Like, the expectation is you are the franchise savior at that point. Obviously, if you got a second overall pick, you've had a bad season the previous year. So like you said, it's like with us, with Chase Young in 2019, we had a bad year and we ended up getting Chase. So it's just you have to have somebody at that spot, and you got to think to yourself, hey, he has to be the franchise savior, because
And you draft the guy at number 2. You surround him with talent. You expect 10 wins.
Yeah.
You expect that.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
And in saying all that, Chris, tell us where the Washington team picks in the draft. What number? Is it 7 or 8, or is it a little further back?
We are 11.
Okay, 11. Okay.
We're 11.
All right.
Yes,
My bad.
No, you good. You good.
My bad. And what are you hoping they get at 11?
11 is going to be an interesting spot. I think if we look at it as far as 2 quarterbacks might be potentially off the board at that time. I think Kenny Pickett and probably Malik Willis will be out because I'm thinking Atlanta or Denver might look at a quarterback, even though Matt Ryan, that contract is
right,
can't do nothing with it. It's kind of immovable.
Would you like to see them trade up?
Yeah, because we're hearing the Panthers might be interested in a quarterback because Donald didn't turn out to be what at least I thought he would be.
Carolina's in that mix as well too, and that's the thing. If you move up, to me, I would not. Okay. I think honestly, it's gonna sound kind of crazy, but I still think that you can get a quarterback. You may not get, you may not get Russ or Aaron Rodgers. That's who I like.
Listen, Montana and Brady came out of the late rounds, so
that's true. Yeah, because and that's what I'm thinking. I would be fine if they a Friday guy. I'm thinking potentially. I think Desmond Ridder might be there. Also, Carson Strong might be a solid Friday night pickup potentially, coupled with maybe a free agent like a Mitchell Trubisky potentially. I think could potentially, that could be something that this quarterback class, I don't think necessarily I would trade up more.
No, it's not that great. No, it's not.
It's not that great. So
Right.
to me, that means if we have to trade up, obviously, you're going to give up a first next year, and then and we might
Yeah, is it worth it?
wrapping a top
No,
pick
definitely.
potentially in 2023.
Yeah, is it worth it? Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he's a home run, if there was a home run guy to say, hey, great, but then you're going to gift wrap somebody maybe potentially a top 10 pick in 2023. If this doesn't,
Right.
this doesn't pan out.
Yeah. And what are the fans hoping for? Like, who do they want? Who's their number one in their eyes? Who do they want to see at number 11 for you guys?
A lot of like a lot of fodder. A lot of people have been saying like Nakobe Dean. Like they're really high on Nakobe Dean from Georgia, the linebacker.
Okay.
At 11. But then the part of me is like, will he be there at 11? That's the thing where and it makes sense because obviously, we need depth at the linebacker position. Obviously, hopefully, Jamie Davis, a guy that who we invested the first round pick in last year, will actually, get more opportunities. I think that sometimes they short him a little bit sometimes. And also you got Cole Holcomb at the linebacker position. He's at a contract year. So, it's one of the things where it can kind of, I think it'll be a good move. But if he's there at 11, pursue it. But then also I look at there's some other like I look at a guy like Keon Green, offensive lineman from Texas A&M.
Okay.
I think considering the fact that we probably gonna lose Brandon Sheriff, I think that's a he's out the door pretty much. So
that's a name Jet fans been touting all week. That's one of the free agents Jet fans want.
Oh, Joe.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm glad you brought him up, because let me ask you a question now. Just you, not as someone who does a podcast, just you sitting at home, you're a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want? Who is your number one? If you're the GM, who you picking with number one? I'm going to get to a point. That's why I'm just want to ask, who would you like?
At 11?
Yeah.
I'll probably be Keon Green.
Okay.
I think that's he at this point. I think it's solid. The offensive lineman from Texas A&M. Okay. I would get him over Nakobe Dean, but yeah. Okay.
So are you from the school of you either take the best player off the board or you take the need? Like this is a need, even better, even if he's not the best player on he's a need for you. Do you take the best player or do you take the need?
I think you take the best available.
Best. Okay. Oh, absolutely. I agree 100% with you.
And it's funny, I used to be in that school of thought, but then a part of you got to think to yourself where that gives you flexibility. Like, say, for instance, I almost like a hypothetical example. Like if Nakobe Dean falls to our lap at 11, we can say, oh, well, you already got like linebackers here and there, but then you got to think about a guy like a Cole Holcomb, even though I love Cole Holcomb. Say, for instance, you love Nakobe Dean a lot more, and then say, hey, then maybe you part ways with Cole potentially, okay, or what have you. So it's and now, especially the way the NFL is, you need depth. So it's
Chris,
depth is huge, man. Huge.
The reason why I'm asking you, Chris, because I listen to a lot of my Jet brothers and sisters who do shows and what their takes are, and this is one fan base who everyone has a different take, and no one seems to be on the same page. But I must be, I don't know if it's because of my age, being in my 50s, if I'm just so out in left field with my thinking. I said to some people that even though he may not be the best player on the board, I wanted the center, Tyler Lindenbaum, because I wanted someone to do what Creed Humphreys did for the Chiefs and solidify our line. He may not be the best player on the board at 4. Everyone's under these, that's too high to take a center. But if it's a need that fits my team and what I'm thinking, I got to do it. And I don't hear any Jet fans high on this kid. Like they all saying, maybe we could trade back in a 29th or a 30th to get him. I don't think he's going to be there. I want the center to solidify my line. That's just me. That's my take.
You want the next Mangold.
And yes. Which that makes sense, especially for a team. Like, there's a thing where, people don't realize, you look at the situation in Cincinnati. If I'm telling you, if Joe Burrow would have had about 2 to about 2.5 seconds, he would have found Jamar Chase in the end zone, and they would have won that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So the offensive line is key, and I've always liked y'all offensive line. Obviously, my guy Mekhi Becton, he's from my area, so Mekhi Becton, Elijah Vera Tucker, and then also you put, like you said, get that center. That will solidify your offensive line. So now you got a guy like a Zach Wilson who will have time to make those throws to one of my guys, Jamison Crowder. So and
love Crowder, man. Love Crowder.
Yeah, and the kid from Ole Miss.
You're ball with the tight end. And I know we're running out of time, so we won't keep you much longer. And you see, and I'm taking a lot of slack for liking Lindenbaum, but my fear, my thought was that you bring in the young center. You got, and I understand young doesn't mean better. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just visualizing a Lindenbaum, a Becton, a Mekhi, like Brickishaw and Mango solidifying that line for 10 years, and Zach growing up with these guys. McGovern is nice, but he's not going to be here 5 years with Zach. He's going to probably not even be here next year. Who knows? Right. So that was my take on it, and I got a lot of heat from it. Everyone in New York wants the movie star, the defensive end, the big – and I get it. I get it. But my take is different from everyone else, Chris, and I get killed for it. But that's me. I saw
the fans and Jet season ticket holders begging Saleh not to draft Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, the safety. They feel it's too high. I don't get it. If it's a need.
Begging him, don't draft this guy.
If it's a need. But we're a fan base that, Chris, you could talk to me and Kevin, then in 5 minutes go on someone else's show and hear a totally different spin on it. But that's life as a Jet fan anyway.
Hey, and
that's
before
in Washington.
Yeah, you know what I wanted to ask you about? What do you guys think about the USFL?
I actually like it. I think it's a good idea. I think it's
Me too.
Especially for just a simple fact of, hey, if you're yearning for football in the spring, it'll be perfect. I think, and the thing
I totally agree.
About it won't coexist. I mean, it will coexist.
No,
so
it can't. That's what did it in. That's what did it in the first time was they tried to coexist with the NFL. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, the certain owner of the New Jersey Generals, huh?
Yeah.
I gotta look. I have to look somewhere. I have a Jersey Generals hat from the 80s. From the last time.
You got to remember, the USFL stole two of the top players from the NFL. So they thought they were going to win this. They figured if we could steal players, fans are going to come to us. But the product wasn't as good as they wanted it to be. So
Steve Young, Jim Kelly, Herschel Walker.
Doug
Flutie. We could just keep going. Reggie White.
Forget two players. There's more than that. Shit. Yeah. Wow.
So the NFL was like, look, we gotta stop this.
Anyway, Chris, this was a pleasure. Like Kevin and I always say now, you're part of our family. You ever want to pop on, you know how to reach us. You have something to promote, talk about your team, something upcoming. Feel free, drop us a line. You have carte blanche to come on anytime you want, my man.
Hell yeah.
The same thing for you guys as well, too. Definitely. I'm somewhat of a closeted Jets fan. Like I said, Joe Douglas is from my area. He's maybe about 20 minutes from my hometown. Mekhi, we went to the same high school, but obviously, I'm way older than Mekhi. And obviously, former Washington guys, Jamison Crowder, and then also my guy.
We're a different conference. We're a different conference, so we can support each other.
Exactly.
Morgan Moses as well. So
The only time we're ever gonna meet meaningful is in the Super Bowl. So
correct. In Arizona next year.
Let's hope. Right.
We'll see you there.
Let's hope. All right, Chris, thank you for hopping on with us. This was great talking to you. We'll definitely have you on again. I wish we had more time. We'll wait to have you on again because I really want, since he's a hometown guy, I really want your take on Mekhi Becton because that's another guy I'm butting heads with Jet fans about. But we'll save that for another episode. We'll leave the fans hanging and we'll bring you back hopefully in a couple of weeks if you want, and we'll talk about him because I have a few takes on him.
I'll bring the takes in my biased nature.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. All right, Chris, thank you so much. We'll talk soon. Thank
Have
you.
a good
All
one,
right, y'all
brother.
take care. All right.
You
take
too.
care.
All right.
Great seeing you, man.
All right.
Pretty cool.
That was cool having Chris on.
Yeah,
another
yeah,
day,
yeah, yeah.
definitely.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. So
Oh,
before
yeah.
we wrap up, Kev, because I really don't have any Jet news, are you looking forward to the combine this week? Are you ready? Are you going to check it out?
Yeah.
Are you going to have your
I
eye
mean-
on anybody?
Yeah, I got a couple quick notes here.
Okay.
Jets got the third most draft capital since 1970. Since
Yep.
1970.
Yes.
We also have speaking of the USFL, we also have 19 former Jets in the USFL.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, no huge big
Yeah,
names,
yeah, yeah. Yep.
but yes, 19 former Jets.
Well, March is going to get exciting, Kev. We got the
Mhm.
combine. We're, I think, 18 days away from the free agency period, so we'll have
Yep.
a lot to talk about. I'm going to try to get on another guest next week, hopefully, and we'll take it from there.
And I got 4 names on my mind.
Okay.
Free agency.
All right. Let's save that. Let's save that for next week. What do you think? Because then we could really go at it then. I'll do my
Yeah.
homework and we'll go at it then. Anyway.
Okay. Very
this
good.
was great again, brother. Another good show.
Another good show. Hey, and I wanted to give a little FYI here. Hostile Rage, May 14th, Dingbats, Clifton, New Jersey. Hostile Rage, Scarlet King, Death Cactus, Morbid Cross. Going to be a nice metal show.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll be there. I might even bring my young one. We'll be
Oh,
there. to
hell
root you
yes.
in. We'll have another great night like last time, and we'll watch you tear up the place like you always do, my brother. Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait.
Well, I can't wait to see you guys.
Colt Bud Scott, can't wait. It's gonna be something.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
All right,
Kev, another
have a
good
great
one.
weekend.
Yep.
You guys have a great weekend, and we'll catch you later. All right, we'll see you next week.
Yep.
Where we talk about the combine, free agency, and we want to know who you want in free agency. So comment below and tell us.
Yeah,
Like, subscribe.
Yep. Do all that good stuff to help us out. Thank you, guys.
Sounds good, brother.
All right.
Have a great weekend. Say hello to everybody over
I
there.
will. You as well.
All right. Jet up.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you later.
All right.